Well, welcome back to another short lecture here. So, one of the beautiful things about history is we cover everything, right? If you've watched enough of my channel, we cover books, we cover politics, we cover wars, we cover art, we cover everything. And so this is one that I like to talk about, which is Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci. Everyone's heard of these two guys, and it tells you something right off. This kind of fun thing to think about. Think of artists today, and do you think there are any artists today that 500 years from now people will still know? It's kind of hard for me to kind of wrap my brain around that, but this is how important these two individuals were. And they didn't like each other. That's one thing that a lot of people didn't know. Michelangelo and Leonardo were not best friends. They were both from Italy, Florence, doing all these amazing works, but who's more impressive? Michelangelo there you see on the left, or Leonardo over here on the right. Who is more impressive? So I'm going to give you kind of a couple things each of them did and give you my thoughts. And of course, I'm sure people in the art community and history community may completely disagree or may even say other people are more impressive. But it's still fun to think about and look at. So in terms of Michelangelo, I mean, I've actually been fortunate enough to see some of his works in person. I've seen the David in person, the Sistine Chapel in the Last Judgment, Sistine Chapel in the Last Judgment. They're in the Vatican there together in the same room, and the Pieta that you see over here in the middle. For those of you who aren't familiar, the Pieta is right over here in the middle here, up here in the PowerPoint there. And then he was also involved in architecture. He was involved in helping design St. Peter's Basilica. So Michelangelo did a lot of things, but the paintings themselves and the sculptures are absolutely stunning. I mean, I have to tell you, when you see pictures of the Sistine Chapel, they're like, yeah, it's cool. When you see it in person, you're like in awe. And then also things you know about Michelangelo as an individual. I mean, this guy was incredibly passionate about his work. I tell my students, if everybody was as passionate about their work as Michelangelo was to his, it'd be amazing what we'd accomplish as a society. So Michelangelo had amazing sculpture, of course, major artworks. These are just a handful of his things he did. And any one of these would be remarkable. If all the guy did was a Sistine Chapel, you'd go, wow, this guy's amazing. But then he did all these other pieces and many more, which really elevate him into this really high level artist that people still know today. Well, what about Leonardo? Well, Leonardo, of course, Mona Lisa, everyone's familiar with the Mona Lisa. The Last Supper, another really amazing piece of artwork that he did. But the thing with Leonardo that distinguishes him, I think, a little bit from Michelangelo is he's this full Renaissance man. This guy did everything, right? Science, you see this image here of the Vitruvian Man, the flying machine, that idea that that he came up with. And so he wasn't just an artist, he was also doing a lot of things in terms of science. And so he was, I think, in many ways more well-rounded than Michelangelo. And so I think those are things about him. And these, again, all things we're familiar with. Who doesn't know about the Mona Lisa, right? And so these are a really powerful thing. And I think that, he's also did a lot of study of the human anatomy. I think that's another really amazing thing of Leonardo da Vinci. You could look at some of his drawings, like he's got one of an embryo of a womb, and it's like, wow, the anatomies there are really remarkable. So who is more impressive? Well, these are kind of how I break it down. For sculpture, I definitely think it's got to be Michelangelo because it wasn't Leonardo's big thing. For science, it would definitely be Leonardo. I think in my mind, he comes up with a lot more ideas that would fall in amazing science. Painting, this is going to get different people are going to disagree. Some people love the paintings of Michelangelo more. Some people love the paintings of Leonardo more, right? Obviously, there's always some subjectivity with art, even in Renaissance period. But for me, I always thought, the art of Michelangelo, the Sistine Chapel, just puts it over the top for me. And in terms of just sheer passion, I definitely think Michelangelo gave more of his soul to his art. I mean, Leonardo was amazing. Don't get me wrong. I mean, all the stuff he did was absolutely stunning. So this is all cool, So for me, I would say Michelangelo is kind of a little bit ahead of Leonardo, but just some things to think about. And of course, there's also so many other cool things that come out of the Renaissance, art, architecture. I have a really short video that I'll share here of the story of the Duomo in Florence and a man named Brunelleschi, and this cool story of how the Duomo is built in Florence. If you've never seen that short lecture of mine, please watch that one. That's a hoot. It's a really crazy little story, and it's about architecture and history and all this fun stuff together. Short lecture as well. All right, thank you everyone. Again, love to know in the comments what you think. Do you agree, disagree? Do you have any other artists you really like during the Renaissance? It's all part of history. History covers so many different things. So thank you for watching, and as always, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. I'd love more people to see these lectures. Thank you everyone. Have a wonderful day.